Hello, bowling fans. This is Dustin J. Markowitz coming to you taped, as always, from the gem along the Colorado River, Laughlin, Nevada, bringing you yet another edition of your favorite bowling show, Bowling Evolved. Join me, as always, is my partner in crime, one of the millionaires from the PBA Tour, 5-time national champion, and one heck of a bowler, the one and only Eric Forkel. Eric, how are you doing tonight?
Give me my $1 million. I don't have any left. They always say you want all this money, but I don't have any. Can you just give me some?
Well, I wish I had that ability, but hey, hopefully someone will want to pick up our show one of these days and we could sell it.
Pick it up and throw it away, but that's another story.
Yeah,
well, you never know. Somebody might want us. Somebody might want us. You never know.
Well, we do have quite a few followers now on Facebook and Twitter and God knows what else. Tyler,
what are we up to, like 14, 15 people?
Almost.
Just checking.
370 now, I believe, on Facebook. I don't know on Twitter. Tyler Hunsaker, our audio and media tech, has been doing a great job there. But enough about that. We have a great show tonight, and I am so proud that our first guest is, as Eric was saying off the air, is going to save face for our show tonight. And so there's no pressure going into this. But ladies and gentlemen, our first guest tonight, he actually won the Don Carter tournament here with a $2.99 game on national TV, his second TV appearance of the year. A heck of a bowler and a heck of a nice guy, the one and only Jason Sterner. Jason, thank you for joining us, and how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing spectacular. Thanks for having me on, guys. I appreciate it.
Cool, Jason. Thanks for joining us.
Absolutely.
Yep. Well, I guess we'll jump right into it. I mean, you were one of the most requested guests we've had, as I was telling you a little bit before. We've had a lot of emails, especially from the younger crowd, saying that you are their hero. They like seeing this fresh face. They love the way you throw the ball. You beat, obviously, one of the most popular bowlers on tour during the Don Carter tournament. And, I mean, so tell us to start. I mean, how does it feel having this notoriety now?
Man, it's hard to put it into words. I mean, it all kind of happened really fast. I mean, Vegas was unbelievable. Really wasn't expecting that, and then to have the turnaround and the next swing that I go to, find my way on the show again with another chance to win this time, and it's just been a roller coaster ride. It's been amazing, but I try not to get ahead of myself. I know all the work and everything that's been into it, so I just try to stay grounded as much as possible. But with everything going on, it's just like chaos now, but. I'm finding time to still enjoy it and keep my head clear, but it's been amazing. It's pretty cool to be able to say you can watch yourself on TV and see all the work that's gone into the whole process, and I mean, just it's something else. So, but I would say, I'm just trying to gear up, get ready for the COC coming up here. That was unexpected, but now I get to participate in that. So I think this one of those things where I look back at the journey and try to think about where it came from, and started out in the youth, and I felt like there was one or two majors that the kids want to win. The Youth Masters and the Junior Gold, the Team USA. So I wanted to, obviously excel and learn how to win on that level. And started bowling every year, got better. Finally got a chance to make it to the finals of the Team Masters in '03 and beat Ryan Simonelli out, which I'm pretty sure you guys know Ryan.
Sure.
He's one of the few that made it out at a younger age. Not a lot of the kids get a chance to get out there as young as he did, and that really speaks volume, because most of the other guys, such as myself, my age, it's taken us a little bit longer of a time to get there, because our window is, not as, we don't have 30, 40 tournaments a year to really go and learn. Like the older generation, so
that would be correct.
Well,
yeah. There used to be a lot more. Absolutely correct. You had a lot more tournaments to bowl throughout the course of the year. You can definitely learn your craft out there now. Everything is so much shorter, and you have to kind of get it done a lot quicker. So it definitely makes it more challenging, I think.
Oh yeah, it's fast. So I mean, the kids our age have to really figure it out that much faster in a shorter window of time. And if you don't get the right help, it's that was another thing that was really crucial for me is I got to a point in my game where I couldn't figure out what is going to get me to the next level. Is it this? Is it that? Is it balls? Is it what is it? And I was practicing one day in my hometown, and a buddy of mine, which is now my swing coach, he came in there and I was practicing, and I think this was like my second year. It was right after I lost my exemption, and he comes in and he's like, dude, why are you throwing it so bad? I was like, I have no idea. I was like, I thought I had it figured out, but I don't know, I'm lost. So he started helping me. He got me squared away in about a month or so, and I was bowling better, and I was really getting some confidence in my game. And he comes in one day and he's like, man, he's like, hey, that's pretty good. What do you think about it? And I was like, I feel pretty good. I think I can win with it. And he goes, nah, it's really not that good. I was like, what? What do you mean? I was like, it feels pretty good. He's like, it could be better. And I was like, why do you say that? He's like, let's get it on video and let me show you. And that whole, from that point on, going and actually seeing where my issues lie, like in my swing and, this body position and all these things that I had no idea that were a big part of it, the fundamentals. I think we lose sight of them now because, we're kind of given a little bit more, and we don't have to be as good or physically solid to throw high numbers.
Sure.
And, like it was back in the older day, where the bowling balls weren't, they didn't hook 20 boards. You had to, you had to hit a dime. So I think just our generation really lost sight of that. I think most of us were self-taught. We just grew up bowling, and then we would just watch and try to mimic the people that we saw were good, and go from there. I mean, everybody's different, but when he really showed me why it was important, and I started going to work on my game physically, and then I started seeing a whole other side of the game that I had no idea was even existed. Like all this extra energy that I was using to try to throw this big hook shot was just a mess. I mean, it was hard to repeat. It was tearing my body up. I was getting injured all the time and never understood why. And then here it is, all in black and white on the camcorder. And from that point forward, it just, took stages and it took time to adjust my game to what it is now. But that was kind of the turnaround that got me through to that next level. So that was
Jason, let's do this. First of all, obviously this person helped you. Let's give him a shout out. What is it? Can you give us his name?
It's Keith Preston.
Okay, and where is he out of?
He's from my area, McDonough, Georgia.
Okay, and what exactly compared to what was the issue with your game prior to working out with him in your swing, and what was the correction that was made?
Well, the first thing is I had a huge loop in my swing,
okay.
And I remember the first time I actually saw it on video was we did a ball test for Brunswick, and after I started working on my game, we went back and looked at that, and you could see this huge, just super swing away from my body, pull it in, and just fire my shoulders. And I had no idea I did that. To me, I thought I was just going up there nice and easy and, letting it go, like it was no big deal. But when I actually saw that, he explained to me why I was having so much inconsistencies. Because I couldn't repeat that. That's, that motion, it's so abrupt, you can't repeat it, especially in a pressure situation when you're amped up and the adrenaline's flowing. It was just hard. So that was the first thing we fixed. And then the next thing was, with that came this, almost like not like a plant, but, like a little slide to a plant. I mean, it was basically a plant, and then just everything would close to fire the ball. Well, I had to learn how to get a slide so I can give myself a longer flat spot and give myself some time to fire the shoulders through the shot correctly, instead of trying to generate all that power in one crack of the whip. I mean, it's just, there's too many inconsistencies there.
It's very interesting to hear how this journey has kind of progressed. I know I was actually talking before on a previous episode that we recorded about just how effortlessly your swing looked on the Don Carter show, and it really amazed me because your game just seems so solid. So it's good to hear that you were able to kind of digest it down to where you are today.
Yeah, I mean, that was the biggest thing, and because I never understood any of that. I didn't know how important, like, the mechanics and the structural side is to this game. Because, I don't think a lot of us really realize, like, how important it is. Because, to me, I never thought it was, that important, obviously, and until I realized, like, I was stuck at a level that I was never going to get past until I took the time to fix it. And when it really came down to me is what you're doing, if you throw it perfect, you're going to strike. We're all going to strike if we throw it perfect. But how many times can you throw it good or marginal and strike? How many times can you get the 16 out of the channel into the 10? How many times can you trip the 4 or the big 4 out? So that's the make or break hits, and that's what you don't have when you have no consistency. And
you have
a structure, there is none.
You have to, and we've talked about this before, to be very successful, even back when I was out there, even to now, you better be able to carry all 3 pockets. You can't just have one pocket.
Absolutely.
You've got to carry the flush hit, the off hit, the in-between hit, and the guys who are successful, those are the ones, they carry that hit.
That's it. That's the make or break hit right there. The marginal.
If you're not, correct, and if you're not doing it, then you've got to adjust your game or your style or your release to give you that power, and it looks like you've done that very well.
Yeah, that's, I thought I was going to lose so much by gearing down and actually gain more.
Absolutely, less is always more.
Yeah.
that my coach back in the day used to tell me that less is more, less is more. I mean, you can take it to an extreme, but overall, it's nice to have the power, but it has to be a controlled power.
Yeah.
It's got to be a controlled power. Power is terrific, but to have it under control and let it work in your favor as opposed to against you, that's the biggest key, and that obviously holds true.
That is. I mean, I am a firm believer of that now after seeing it work, because, once you have those 3 pockets, you can, when you're practicing, you can, if you're in a house where it's playing that one side, you just gear into that side, and now you still have 2 pockets playing the angle that you can repeat and that you're comfortable doing it, and you're just going to bowl, lights out, because it's not going to be any thought process behind it.
And you make a tour shot feel like a house shot, basically.
Yeah.
Remember it. You just make it looks, you've got all 3 things going for you, and most of the time, the guys who have it going on, that's what they have. They're not just striking from one hit. They got all 3 hits going on.
Yeah,
that's it.
I also think back, Eric, when we had David Ozio on the show, and talking about the way you guys used to practice, and
of course.
And I even think back when we worked a little bit together, Eric. You talking to me just about something as simple as hand positions. Sure. How radically different, and Jason, I'm sure you agree with that as well. How radically different a quarter of an inch of where you're letting go of a ball can be on carry and not carrying.
Well, yeah, that's that flat spot. That's that flat spot that he mentioned earlier. I mean, all the top players, they seem to create a longer or a wider flat spot, which enables you to carry and have a better hand action, better leverage. And these balls are terrific, but you still got to have some technique behind the balls. The balls are very good, but you got to have the right technique, or you're not going to beat anybody, especially the players out on tour, which are the best bowlers in the world.
Sure,
and hands down.
Absolutely. Well, I guess that brings up another interesting point. You mentioned the tour a lot, and Jason, now to kind of get your opinion. Now, what do you think of the current tour? Obviously, you're participating in the PBA League. You're out there with all these different stops that have multiple tournaments in one area. What's your opinion of that? Do you like the way the PBA has kind of gone, or are you wishing that was a little bit more like it was back in Eric's day, or do you see it going in a different direction?
Well, I remember my first year that I made it out on tour, I actually got to experience, kind of what Eric got to experience, not to his extent, but I think the first year we had probably 19 stops, and it was the travel every week to a different city, and it was a blast. I mean, it was a lot of fun. I mean, going to all those different cities and seeing different sites and meeting different people. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah, exactly.
So now, when they started the World Series in Detroit, I didn't like the whole month thing, and then they made it smaller, and I liked that a little bit better. And, I guess it's the nature of the beast now, what we're in. I'm still going to bowl, because I want to win, and, that's why I'm going out there. I wish it could be like it used to be where we had 19 stops in different cities. But, we just make do with, what we got, and, hope that we can come together and make it work, and just get through the tough times, and just hope that, we can figure it out. But, until then, I'm just going to go bowl and, try to win and try to get better and, hope for the best.
It's amazing. You're hoping for 19 stops. That just sounds so crazy, because I remember when it used to be, high 20s, low 30s. I mean, before I got out there, I think they were bowling 36 back in the 80s. But when I was out there in the 90s, it was like 27, 28, 29 tournaments, and you basically bowled all year. I mean, you actually could bowl. And now you guys are pulling for 19. It's really amazing to think about. It's really something. But that's why they have, obviously, we talked about it on our show, they opened up the World Tour, going overseas. Do you get a chance to participate over there?
I haven't. I haven't actually had the financial ability to do that yet.
Exactly.
So.
Exactly that is exactly what we talked about a few months back. I said, how many guys can actually afford to go over there and participate? It's got to cost a fortune.
Yeah. I mean, I've only recently talked to a few of the guys that have gone over there on a regular basis, and that, trying to get the numbers and the idea of what it's going to be. And I'm like, oh God, okay, well, at least I know. And, I'm in a position now that I can start to do that. So that is the next thing that is going to happen. I'm just trying to plan everything accordingly. But it's just, like you said, it's tough, because unless you have a sponsor,
Absolutely.
or a backer, you can't do it on your own unless you got a good enough job to take the hit.
Tough.
And that's exactly what we talked about, saying how it looks terrific on paper. Now you've got, 30 some odd tournaments when you add everything in, but look where you got to go. You've got to crisscross the globe basically to do this, and that's not easy. That's just not easy to do. At least I don't think it's that easy. I think it's your equipment and your hotels and your cars, and however maybe you got to take a train over there. I mean, I can't even imagine compared to what it used to be over. It's just craziness. Like I said, it's just a shame. It's a shame that it's, as you say, not 19 tournaments anymore. It's just a shame that that you don't have 25, 30 tournaments a year to bowl. At least that's what it should be.
Yeah, I mean, that really takes away from the learning curve from the younger generation, which I think discourages them from wanting to come out, because they have to learn it that fast, and let's be honest, some are quick learners and some aren't. It takes time, and
it's very hard to do. It's almost impossible, and you gotta. It's like a stroke of lightning. You just gotta. It doesn't happen that much. That's why. There are a lot of guys who are fantastic players. You just never heard of them because they couldn't stick it out long enough,
Yeah, you're absolutely right.
And it's only gotten worse. That's the sad part. It's only gotten worse.
Yeah, it's way worse now. Way worse.
Of course, now I will say one thing that is good news, and we are closing in on our first break here, but do want to mention, now, we have mentioned domestically, we have some tournaments that aren't necessarily PBA events, but are popping up that have PBA-style money. For example, the Proprietors' Cup, which obviously Eric and we just ran the Laughlin Cup, which was a satellite for that. Now, Jason, I know you're bowling in the Ace Mitchell Team Challenge for Boom Apparel, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, just found out about that. I guess a couple weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
They asked me to bowl it, and last year, the only reason I didn't go bowl is because I was told that it was going to be on a house shot, and I was like, oh my God, I'm not going up there for a house shot. And come to find out, it was something that was tough, and I was like, God, if I'd have known that, I would have went and bowled. So I didn't get a chance to participate last year, but this will be my first year going to it, so I look forward to it.
And I got to ask, too, I mean, now, something like that, and we've obviously had Billy Eisolt on our show several times, but, I mean, that's got to be just as prestigious to some extent, bowling like the Proprietors' Cup, which you're still looking at, a $12,000 or $15,000 first-place check. All the top guys are going out there. Does it still mean the same to you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's just, like you said, the same guys are going to be there. We're bowling for, basically the same money that we are on tour. So to me, it's just as prestigious well, it's probably not as prestigious, but to go win it, it still means something more than it's just a win. So,
sure.
I mean, it's a trophy that means a lot. So.
Well, I'll tell you, I think on behalf of every one of our listeners, and of course Eric and myself, we wish you the best of luck. As a matter of fact, we're going to actually have your team sponsor, Derek Johnson of Boom Apparel, coming on next, as a matter of fact.
Awesome, yes, Derek's an awesome guy. So, you'll like him.
But that's going to take us to our first break. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Jason Stern. Jason, thank you so much for doing the show tonight. We wish you the best in your future endeavors, and we hope to have you on the show again.
All right, sounds good. Call me up anytime.
All right,
Thanks for coming on, Jason, and when next time you win, we'll have you back on.
All right, sounds good, Eric. Appreciate it. Hope it's soon.
I've watched you play, and I don't see why not. You definitely got a lot of talent, a lot of ability. You've resurrected your game a little bit. You've made it. You went down the road that you needed to go. You were smart enough to see it, and I think you've got a little bit of a future in front of you. If hopefully there is a future for you to have out there.
It's very nice to hear that from future peers. So that means a lot. I do take that to heart.
Got it, buddy.
You guys have a good evening, and I appreciate the call. Call me back anytime.
Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, stick around. Coming up next, Derek Johnson from Boom Apparel. Stick around. Welcome back, bowling fans. Well, Eric, it was great to have Jason on the show. Such a good player on the lanes, and I mean, he just has so much respect for where bowling is and where it came from. I think that's really a plus to see someone like him be able to do that and represent bowling the way he does.
Yeah, it was very cool. I mean, obviously he's a hard worker. He realized there was some trouble within his swing. He got some help. They worked hard on it. He went out and he shot .299, won a championship. I mean, it doesn't get any better than that. That's what it's all about. Definitely a true professional, and I expect to see more of him down the road. And I'm sure he's looking forward to the TFC and coming up in Indy, and I expect to hear some big things from Jason Stern.
Absolutely. Well, with that being said, we had started talking a little bit about this, and we have our second guest coming on the show, and before I forget, I do want to throw a shout out to, remember, we are also, and we talked about this last week on the show, if our listeners at home, remember, if you have questions about your own game or something that maybe you think Eric Forkler and myself might be able to help you out with, please send us in a question. We can look at videos of you. We're more than happy to offer any assistance we can. Of course, you can reach us at bowlingevolved@gmail.com, or of course on our Facebook page, facebook.com/bowlingevolved, or of course at bowlingevolved on Twitter or bowlingevolved.com. We do read every piece of mail that comes in, and again, we'd be more than happy, and Eric, obviously, with his experience, can really digest and break down someone's game.
If I could handle your game, I can handle anyone's.
That's a good point.
or I should say, I look at my own game on videotape, and if I can handle mine, I know I can handle it.
Well, I'll tell you, I mean, I can vouch, it's been so beneficial for me to have you in my corner, of course, and, Yeah, like I said, opening that up. But with that being said, going back, we started talking a little bit about one of Jason's sponsors, or endorsements, which is Boom Apparel, which I think is a very fascinating company because they represent the new look of bowling. And obviously, Eric, in the last 5, 6, 7 years, bowling has really changed as far as the jerseys and the way people view not only professional bowling but amateur bowling as well. And I think it's interesting. It's interesting to see how the fashion of bowling has progressed over the years.
Well, it's come a long way from the old Munsingwear shirts and King Louis apparel and all the stuff that the players used to wear back in the 60s, 70s, and 80s. When I was out there in the 90s, I mean, you didn't have the mock collar shirts, and you had to have a button collared shirt, and it's changed dramatically. Now it's a lot flashier. It just you look more. Most of the players, they look like they got billboards on. They're wearing billboards. They look like they're race car drivers. And or if you've ever watched, if you ever watch a bass fishing tournament, and they look like they're billboards out there on those boats. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff written all over them. But bowling, the apparel has definitely changed, and obviously there's some people out there doing some good stuff.
Absolutely. Well,
and we happen to have one of them on.
Yes, we do. We happen to have the co-owner of Boom Apparel, Mr. Derek Johnson. Derek, thank you very much for joining us tonight.
Thank you guys for having me.
Thanks for coming on, Derek.
Like I said, it's so amazing how the look of bowling has changed. And obviously, Boom Apparel is kind of a smaller company, but one that's made a lot of news. Obviously, you've designed shirts for Jason Sterner. One of our previous guests, Paula Vidal, I know you've done jerseys for her. You've really had a good reach in the bowling world. So, I mean, tell us a little bit about the company, about yourself, how you got involved with bowling, and why you got involved with the bowling side of designing these jerseys.
Okay. I mean, it was pretty simple. We started out, I think we was in Miami, actually. And we started out just bowling, just something to do for the family. And we used to go to Cosmic Bowling. And then Job relocated us to Atlanta, Georgia. And it was like, okay, well, got here and it seemed to be a really big circuit for bowling. I mean, real huge push for it. And next thing you know, we're in leagues. We've been bowling probably for the last 6, 7 years ourselves. And, it just caught on. It was something that my wife and I can do and our daughter, and we just been doing it ever since. And we started an embroidery business and embroidering bags, accessories, things of that nature, high school teams. And from there, we just had a couple of guys I went to college with, and they work at Nike, and we started talking and we said, hey, this is the future. So we looked and did some research into it and said, hey, let's go dye sublimation. At the time, now some of our competitors were pretty big in it, and we just really started doing research of how we wanted to do things versus how the industry was doing things. And one of the things that we really believe in is, hey, we want to give our customers that professional look at an affordable price. Because we understand, we're working people too, that everybody can't afford a $150 jersey, so to speak. So, and you shouldn't have to. I mean, at the end of the day.
Sure.
And I experienced this, from being in college, trying to go buy a cheeseburger and then look over into our school store and see the jersey with my number on it being sold for $100, but I could barely purchase a Big Mac, so to speak. So that's kind of how we got into it. And then, we really looked into what do we like. We didn't want to continuously the older trend. We wanted to give something cutting edge, especially when you look at like colleges. Colleges are coming into, I would call the new trend like Oregon with football and the uniforms, the floors in the basketball gyms, even University of North Carolina, the Argyle are changing. So, we said, hey, let's give bowling this look. When you put on this shirt, it should represent you. It should represent what you're about. And kind of where we are. And then the next, I think, major thing we looked at too was, let's do it a little different. Everybody gets the website. But let's use social media. It is huge right now. Let's do word of mouth to really see where we are. And the response has been, overpouring and wonderful.
See, I'll tell you, when I had heard about your company, and I had mentioned this to Eric, I was very impressed because when we formed Bowling Evolved, as our listeners well know, we went the same route. We were basically Facebook exclusive for quite a while, and we developed a bit of a following, and it seems like you've kind of gone the same route. Now, obviously, they can visit your Facebook page if they search for Boom Apparel. Are you going to have a regular website here in the near future?
Yes, we actually just signed up a company, so it will be out in the next month or so. I think that's the ETA. I don't actually have it in front of me right now. We're actually at a bowling tournament ourselves. But, yeah, we're actually going to have a website so people can come and, look at designs. But, we still love that, like you said, that social media, being able to talk to our customers, get a feel for our customers, and just really, being able to understand where they're coming from so we can turn things around quickly for them.
Absolutely. So tell us, now, Eric, you and I have both seen their stuff. They have some incredible products. I have to think you would agree with that.
Yeah, I've looked at some of their stuff. It's pretty awesome. It's very cool looking. It's very modern. It's got a lot of interesting colors in it. As a matter of fact, I'm looking at some of it right now on the Facebook page, and it's very cool. Yeah. I like it.
Thank you.
What sets you apart? If I'm a bowler and I say, you know what, I want to start bowling, say TMBA or USBC, the US Open, or whatever the case is, what would you say to a bowler that sets your company apart from these other companies?
When I look at things and I say what really sets us apart is that, we really, like our tagline is leave your mark. We want to leave our mark by you leaving your mark. And by doing that, when you come to us and say, hey, you want to get a jersey, there's no hidden fees. There's no hidden cost. And we're going to work with you to design a jersey that when you put on, it's proud. You're not going to deal with, third, fourth, fifth parties. You're dealing with us, the designers, the owners. And you know that when you pay for this, it's going to be exactly what you want. And if it's not, we're going to do everything possible to make it what you want in the time that you need it. And I feel that's the part that's really different for us, is our customer service that we give to the bowler, and by us understanding bowling, by being in that bowling community, we have a pretty good grasp of everyday knowledge of what a bowler likes.
And I think that's so important, to have bowlers running, a bowling wardrobe. It's to know what a bowler is going to need, what they're going to want. That's obviously so important. And I think it's also great that you're supporting, teams. And for example, we were talking a little earlier with Jason about the Proprietors Cup and the Ace Mitchell Team Challenge. Obviously, you're going to have a team in with the Ace Mitchell, where we ran the Laughlin Cup, which was a satellite for the Proprietors Cup. And I think that's really great too. It really shows that obviously you support the bowling. You support, how the game is progressing.
Oh, absolutely. We're all about supporting the bowling. One of the things we keep hearing is that bowling is dying, our bowling is going away. Excuse me, but we're in these centers every day. We travel to tournaments across the country, and it seems like bowling, it is. Bowling is very strong. There are a lot of things out there that put a damper on bowling, so to speak, but, from whether it's a corporate center or a private-owned center, but bowling itself is strong, and we're there to support tournaments. They have the ladies, I think Joe Gatterson is his name, Next Level Ladies Tournament that we're supporting to get more events out for the ladies on the East Coast right now, because there are a lot of very talented ladies out there. But we are definitely supporting tournaments. We're supporting teams, getting the team back into bowling. So we're there giving any type of support we can.
Well, definitely support that ourselves. We're about bowling yesterday, bowling today, bowling tomorrow, and obviously we're looking towards the future with our company as well. That's going to be taking us into our second break, though. Once again, I would encourage all of our listeners, please check out Boom Apparel. Check them out on Facebook, and when their website does go up, just give a search. I believe is it just / or / Boom Apparel on Facebook?
Yep, Facebook, and we're on Twitter at Boom Apparel, and we're on Pinterest, so you can see all our designs, our concept designs too, at Boom Apparel too. So we're there.
There we go.
Yeah, I'm looking at the shirts you gave to the team in Allentown, the team that Randy Stoughton coaches.
Weber. Yeah, Weber International.
Yeah. Weber, yeah, they're pretty cool. That's a pretty sharp looking outfits there. So obviously you guys got some great stuff. And damn, Dustin, you got to do the right thing. Got to hook us up. Talk to him.
well, I really sincerely hope, and we are going to be doing some talking. Obviously, we're going to be doing endorsing of their company, and who knows, maybe we might have some Bowling Evolved jerseys available not only for us but for our listeners as well.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, we're here, and we'll definitely make something happen.
Well, that's what I'd love to hear. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we've been talking with Derek Johnson of Boom Apparel. Please check them out again on all of their various sites. Stick around. When we come back after a break, we'll have our finish up right here on Bowling Evolved. Stick around. Bowling fans, well, that's going to take us into the end of the show. Eric, I'm proud to announce, too, Boom Apparel and Bowling Evolved will be doing some teaming up here in the near future, it looks like, maybe to do a giveaway on our page, which I think that's going to be very exciting. I know I've said it a few times already, but I just can't stress enough. These jerseys are just so cool.
Yeah, like I said, I have a chance to look on it on Facebook, and they've got some pretty awesome stuff. And they have most of the companies, they'll put their logos on there. So, but they're very creative. They're very nowadays, I guess you could say, very they have a lot of wow to them. There's a pretty good wow factor going on there. So he talked about his shirts, and I think they're quite awesome. They're really nice.
Yeah. He was mentioning to us off the air that, they actually, I believe, have agreements with every ball manufacturer other than EBI right now, although they are on good terms with EBI. So I wonder if, maybe they have to get rim permission from them or something like that. I'm not sure how EBI works now. But yeah, that means if you're a Storm fan, a Motive fan, you can, Rotogrip fan, obviously, you could, AMF, Global 900, you can try out these jerseys and see for yourself how much you like them.
Yeah, definitely go to their Facebook page because they've got a bunch of the jerseys on here, just giving you an idea of some of the work that they do. And they do some terrific work, and, it's fantastic. And they have come a long way since back in the early days, with the Muncie and Ware shirts and you name it, to the all the other apparels that they've had in professional bowling. For sure, it has really changed dramatically.
I just think it's so funny. I mean, I obviously, you went back a little further than I did, but I remember my first regional, it was basically just I had a blue polo with my name on the back and the PBA patch. I mean, there was nothing fancy about it.
No, it's gotten louder in the last 4 or 5 years. It's definitely changed. Like I said, you look at the race car drivers, the bass fishermen, they have a lot of logos going on, and the PBA is the professional bowling, and even the higher average players, amateur bowlers, they've gone with these louder shirts and more aggressive marketing. It's all marketing. So the more stuff you have, it just and they're flashier, and it's more towards, to me, it's more designed for the younger generation as opposed to the way it used to be. So it all fits, and like I said, you check out their website. I think you'll be very impressed.
Absolutely. It's real funny, too, before we close out here. I just, I think it's kind of interesting, but we talked about this before, about the companies and endorsements and things of that nature. I really like, that's one thing I like about the modern game, and some people don't like it, but I get a kick out of the companies wanting to showcase their products more and getting behind amateur bowling and regional bowling and top flight professional bowling. You go back 10, 15 years, I mean, I don't think there was as much of that as there is now. But obviously, for a company like Motive, for example, they've been able to get these regional bowlers that are, maybe not necessarily PBA, but are, as you said, top flight scratch amateur bowlers, and it's moving their product. I mean, obviously, Motive is one of the top selling ball companies in the world right now.
And they are. And like I said, they've got some pretty amazing graphics that they put on the bowling balls. And that's kind of that's their distinguishing mark, in my opinion. Their incredible graphics that they put on the ball.
Mm-hmm. And Storm's no different either. Obviously, Storm Rotogrip.
Yeah, I mean, everything has gotten larger. The logos have gotten bigger, more writing on the ball. I mean, it's all about the marketing. It's all about getting the name out there for people to see. And the companies have to, the companies pay product registration. They pay a lot of money. They've got to find a way to push their brand, to push their logo. So what's going to happen? The logos they're going to push it as far as they can, get them bigger and bigger.
Absolutely. And I I would also stress to our listeners, I mean, if you do have someone in your area that obviously represents the company as a staffer, if you are questioning a product or you don't know what you want to do, and Eric, I'm sure you're the same way. If someone comes up to me and asks me about a motive ball, that's my job to some extent. I'm going to tell them about the product. I'm sure you're the same way as Storm.
Yeah, of course. You're basically a representative of the company, and you have to be able to discuss. Obviously when I was in the shop, I could really discuss it. But even though I'm not in the shop right now, when people talk to me about equipment and what the balls do, I can pretty much give them a pretty good rundown of what the product does and how good it is between the two brands of Storm and Roto.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But yeah, it's like I said, I think communication is really one of the biggest keys, and that's what we're here for. But ladies and gentlemen, that's going to take us to the end of the show. Again, we appreciate any and all feedback. Again, our email bullyingevolved@gmail.com, on Facebook, facebook.com/bullyingevolved, on Twitter @bullyingevolved, or of course on our homepage at bullyingevolved.com. We do have some Facebook links and stuff like that where you could actually leave comments on our homepage. Also, be sure to check out a lot of different content we do have on Bullying Evolved right now. We have different articles from John Baker and Brian Hirsch looking at bowling here on the West Coast. We have archives of course, the Laughlin Cup, which was the scratch show we put on, which featured 5 very fantastic bowlers, and Jonathan Farrell, David Haynes, Chris George, Rich Westcomb, and of course our good friend Barry Gurney. Just a lot of fun stuff. Also, we do have the Bowling Evolved staff now of bowlers, which, you think you're good enough to represent our company, please send us a bowling resume. Tell us why you can represent our company. We have some incentives for you as well. So, there's a lot of fun stuff with this, and I encourage you guys to check it all out.
I know. I'm going to look at it. That was a good pitch. I like that.
Hey, that's what they pay me. That's what they pay me the no bucks for. So
understandably so, but that's okay. That's all right. You're rich enough. You don't need any more bucks. You're good.
Let's go with that. Also, but last thing before we sign off, don't forget to check out our friends at Active Pro Shop. Again, we will have the Active Pro Shop inventory on our website. We have partnered up with Active Pro Shop to bring you the best of the bowling business. Obviously, any equipment we talk about on the show is available through them. Jack Mayberry and Heidi Frederick, 2 fantastic individuals in the bowling world, ball industry, and they have done a lot of good for us as well. So please check them out too. But ladies and gentlemen, for Eric Forkel, this has been Dustin J. Markowitz. Have a great night.
Good night.